Imagine you're climbing a mountain. At the base, the trail is gentle and the air fresh. You're excited, energized, snapping photos. But then the incline sharpens, the weather turns, and your legs starts to ache. You hit a cold, barren stretch with no views, no sense of how far you have come or how close the summit is. This is where most climbers turn around, not because the summit isn't worth it, but because the middle is where it hurts the most, and it hides the promise of the view above. From this, we arrive at the first core message. The deep is where mastery begins. That grueling middle stretch, Seth Godin calls it the deep. It's tough, frustrating, soul-testing part of any meaningful journey. Whether you're learning to play guitar, starting a business, or becoming a great writer, at first, things feel exciting. You're improving fast and feeling proud. But eventually, the easy gains disappear, progress slows, challenges piles up, and it gets boring, hard, and painfully uncertain. That's the dip. Most people quit there, but Godin says that's exactly where mastery begins. The deep isn't a sign that you're failing, it's a test. It's where the world quietly asks, how badly do you want this? Anyone can start something, but pushing through the deep, where there's no applause, just effort, is what separates the dabblers from the legends. And here's the key. The rewards on the other side aren't just a little better, they're exceptionally better. Because so few make it past the dip. Those who find less competition and more impact, mastery, influence, and meaning live just beyond that hard middle stretch. Now picture a gardener in spring. She planted a dozen seeds, eager to grow flower, herbs, and vegetables. Weeks later, some sprout are thriving, while others barely poke through the soil. Now she faces a choice: pour water, time, and sunlight into everything, or pull the weak sprouts and double down what's growing strong. A novice might try to save every plant. A wise gardener knows you prune to thrive. And that leads us to the second key takeaway. Winners quit the wrong things early. In the deep, Seth Godin argues, success doesn't come from never quitting. It comes from quitting smart. He introduces the idea of cul-de-sacs, paths that go nowhere, no matter how long you walk them. If you're stuck in a job with no growth, a project with no traction, or a goal that doesn't excite you anymore, grinding it out isn't grit, it's a waste. Strategic quitting means spotting these dead ends early and walking away on purpose, so you can reinvest your time and effort in something with real potential. Here's the truth most people miss. Winners aren't just persistent, they're selective. They quit things that don't matter fast, so they can go all in on a few things that do. This isn't laziness, it's discipline. It's the ability to say, this isn't worth my energy, even when you have already invested a lot. Being busy isn't the same as making progress. Strategic quitting is how you trade good for great, noise for signal, motion for momentum. Now imagine, you are at an airport with 1 hour to buy a gift. There are 10 coffee shops, but one has a line out the door. You don't even need to taste the coffee. You trust the crowd. That must be the place to get in line. What just happened? You didn't choose based on a deep research or a fair review of all the options. You choose the best, or what looked like it. In a crowded world, being standouts makes the all difference. Which brings us to the third point here. Be the best in the world. Seth Godin's message is clear. The market doesn't reward those who are good enough. It rewards those who are the best, and not necessarily in the whole world, but in your world, your niche, your category. Whether you're a designer, teacher, barista, or coder, being number one in a focused space brings outsized returns. Why? Because people don't have time to weigh every option. They default to the leader, and in a world of infinite choices, the best is a shortcut with trust. The kicker in this, being the best isn't about ego, it's about clarity. It's about choosing a narrow enough field where you can be the best, and then going deep, not wide. The rewards at the top aren't just slightly better, they're exponentially better. Think of best-selling authors versus average ones. Top YouTubers versus thousands with small following. The top spot attracts more attention, trust, and opportunity, simply because it's the top. This is the power curve of modern life. Most of the value follow to the top few. Now, think of a poker table. You have already bet a decent stack of chips on a hand, but halfway through, it's clear your cards won't win. Still, you hesitate. I've already put so much in, you tell yourself, and so you stay in the game. Not to win, but to avoid the sting of quitting. You lose even more. That's the trap of a sunk cost fallacy. Clinging to a losing hand because you don't want to waste what you have already spent, even if staying costs more than the walking away. And that leads us to the fourth key takeaway. Quit fast, quit often, but only the right things. Seth Godin warns us not to let our past investment, time, money, effort, pride trap us in the dead-end pursuits. Just because you have started something doesn't mean you should finish it. If you look ahead and see that what you're doing isn't worth pushing through the deep, if the reward at the end isn't meaningful enough, then it's the best move isn't to persist, it's to quit and do it fast. The longer you wait, the more energy you waste. The key is quitting the right thing, the thing that aren't going to pay off, no matter how hard you work. Strategic quitting is how you protect your time and talent. Godin wants us to get comfortable walking away early, before our pride or sunk costs trap us. There is no shame in quitting something that no longer serves you. In fact, it's a skill, a filter that helps you preserve your best effort for the few pursuits that are actually worth the pain of the dip. That's today's bite, full of fruity wisdom for your next mind snack.